During the Kraken's first hockey season back in 2021, there were 1,700 female hockey participants in our state, and that number has actually grown now to more than 2,100 last season. And the Kraken's full-time business office staff is also made up of 51% women. Now, first up this morning, I am thrilled to be joined by three of the women who help make up the Kraken broadcast team. With me, I have Linda Cohn, Alison, Lukan, and Piper Shaw. Thank you so much, you guys.
Thanks for having us, Gil.
Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. I'm sitting with a bunch of legends. First, I want to talk about how you all got into sports broadcasting.
Well, I really wanted to be a professional hockey goalie, because I played in high school and college, and since that was out of the question way back in the day, we didn't have all these amazing women playing the game.
Yes.
I said, okay, what else can I do? And I'm like, well, how can I be a part of a team? Because I felt that was important to keep that continuity that I so much enjoyed while I was playing hockey, being part of a team, and in this case, it's a broadcast team. And I just did what I had to do, and never gave up my dream, no matter how many rejections. And I had rejections. But
That's hard to believe.
The big break was being here in Seattle and working for Cairo TV back in the day, late 80s, early 90s.
Oh my gosh, incredible. Alison, what about you?
My story is very untraditional, but it's in thanks part to trailblazers like Linda, seeing women in this space. I was just a fan of sport my whole life and started writing about it and talking about it and talking at conferences. I come with a little bit more of a nerdy focus. I like to look at some of the underlying numbers behind the game as well as what our eyes see, but was fortunate that when Seattle brought an organization here that they wanted to do things differently, and I always like to say make our staff look like the community in which we live. And we saw women on TV doing that, and they extended me the invitation, and they've held my hand the whole way.
Incredible. And Piper, I want to get to you too.
Yeah, I knew that I wanted to be a broadcaster when I was like 15, 16, and I started very strategically taking steps to do that, going to college early, and I grew up in very much a hockey town, St. Cloud, Minnesota. That's like pretty much all that there is there. So it was just like a natural fit, and it was the sport. It was kind of the only sport really that people cared about and that I, was invested in. And so I just worked my way through the business. I worked in local news at one time in Madison, Wisconsin, and I knew that I wanted to get into hockey and sports broadcasting. And so I just, continued to take those steps and work my way up. And I very specifically wanted to work for the Kraken when I was in Wisconsin, and I networked my butt off to make that happen. So this has been just like such a dream come true for me.
Oh, amazing. I love hearing all those stories, y'all. And Linda, I want to talk to you. What has it been like to pave the way for women in sports broadcasting? You probably get that a lot, but you really have.
Thank you for that compliment, and thank you both. I mean, when I see women like these two and their different paths and amazing success, makes me so happy. Because when I was climbing that ladder, and I was a bit insecure, I worried about what people thought of me, and this was before social media. But I didn't think about that I was paving the way. I was just knowing that I have to continue on this journey, because whatever happens, if I find the success, great. If I don't find the success, maybe others see me trying and will pick up that mission and continue it. But it worked out. I blocked out the noise. And here we are. But I don't think I'll really, realize that impact, and I really am flattered that you said that, until I call it quits, I'm still having fun.
Well, goodness, and it's just crazy to hear you say as well that you felt those insecure moments, because that just doesn't seem real. What's it like all working together, ladies? This has got to be fun.
Oh, it's a dream. I mean, I have been blessed to work with Piper Shaw for 4 years, and
great.
She's my professional soulmate. She's my personal soulmate. She teaches me so much, and then you bring in an icon like Linda, and just building each other up, I think, is the biggest takeaway, and always putting each other to be in the best position is what I just love about working together with both as people and professionals.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I would say too, like Alison and I have such different experiences and even interests in both of our roles. And so she has taught me so much specifically about like analytics in hockey, because I am not a math person. I'm a journalist. I'm a storyteller.
Join the club.
Creative,
I know.
but there's so much value in being able to understand those things and make my stories better, and just my understanding of everything that's going on with that context. And I really didn't have much of an understanding of that at all, and so that's been interesting, and it's been fun to teach you a little bit about broadcasting, because I kind of came into this broadcast first, production first, storytelling first, and so to have that kind of 1-2 punch, and then I genuinely cannot believe that I like get to go to work and like
we're really gassing you up.
I know, but it's true. It's true.
When they told us that Linda was like joining our show this year, like we're like, oh my gosh, okay, well, let's go. Like, just such an honor to be in your presence.
That is so sweet. Allison is the smartest in every room, and Piper, her rapport with these players are incredible. And I've always said, when you have the respect, and this goes with both of these two, when you have the respect from these players, because they hear everything and they don't want to deal with you, they just want to, they're robots. And I mean that in a very kind way, because we love them all.
I know.
But they have their own jobs to do, and they know this is extra. But the way they talk to both these women, respect, that to me says it all. Yeah. And you don't see that when they're talking to certain male media people.
I know when they're chirping me, I'm like, this is a good sign.
Yes, that means they like you.
Exactly. Any advice that you guys have for young women that are coming into a profession like this too?
Well, I get this question often about as it pertains to broadcasting specifically. I always say, like, get experience in any way you can. One of the best things about the digital age that we live in is that you don't need permission from somebody anymore to show your talent, to show your creativity, to show your ability, to learn how to edit, to learn how to shoot, to do whatever it is. If you're passionate about creating storytelling content, there is literally nothing stopping you at any age. So I always encourage that. And then as with broadcasting, I was a speech and debate coach. I was very competitive in speech and debate. And so I often encourage, if you're still in high school or in college and that's something that's available to you, honing your public speaking skills as well as your listening skills, because that's like 90% of actually what that activity is. I'm always like, that's a good place to start with owning your presence and your voice and your body. So
and I think too, you can go outside of classical training. Piper has just the most impressive resume I've ever seen. But I come without that, and I think just trying things, affiliating yourself with people who are smarter and more experienced than you, who can teach you, like these two wonderful women here. And I think particularly for women in this space, we know people who've had to fight the fights and who have had to break down barriers. And as our coach Jessica Campbell always says, we're holding the door open. So find another woman in this space. I know so many women helped me and gave me a hand up, and I try and do that now, and I think that's what we do for each other as well. So always find someone who understands that you're working just a little bit harder than maybe you should have to get your foothold.
Definitely.
Al took the words right out of my mouth. You have to work harder than everybody else. Don't sleep in. Get up. Get up. Create. I mean, what's the worst that can happen?
I know.
At least you can look back and say you tried, and that was the greatest advice my dad once told me.
Well, that's what my dad said to me too.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Like, don't have the what if, you know? Like,
so
go after it.
Go after it, and then you never have to regret anything.
Learning from failure is better than regret.
I have goosebumps.
I know.
I'm like, I have goosebumps. You guys, honor, sharing this table with you. Please eat, enjoy the snacks, and thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having us.